Hi, I'm Jennifer Queen with the Jennifer Queen team and RE/MAX Professionals here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And if you have stumbled upon my channel because you are looking for advice as a new realtor or realtor that's just trying to get their business going, or maybe you are an experienced realtor just wanting for some additional marketing ideas. So if so, you have found the place. I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned because today I'm going to be talking a little bit about some social media ideas if you're having a brain block on what to post exactly on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, you name it. Just what kind of content it is that works for us. So today I'm going to be focusing mainly on Instagram because that has been where a large proportion of our growth has been over the last little bit. I believe at the start of this year we were only at 800 followers, but now we're into the thousands. So whatever we're doing is working, I guess you could say, but I will share some of those tidbits on what does work so that you can replicate it and grow your following and interaction, and as a result, business from your social media, such as Instagram. So Instagram, of course, is managed by the almighty algorithm, and what they want to see to propel you in terms of eyeballs on your account is interaction with and from your account. So you've probably noticed that friends you haven't spoken with in a while probably don't pop up nearly as high on your Instagram, and there's a reason for that. It wants to show you more of what you currently like and interact with. So with that in mind, what we often do daily is at least one post to our page. So that could be a reel, a picture, a carousel, or something to that effect. The carousels are great because if you start getting people swiping, it actually really improves your algorithm. Or if people are watching your reel more than once, that also helps. If you're doing a picture, you want to do a long caption, but something of value, because Instagram wants to see people hovering and reading what you wrote. So it has to be interesting and relevant. Keep in mind, you are speaking to your client avatar, which I will continue to tote on this channel. So for us, again, it's families helping families. So we're often targeting younger families or those that are looking to move up to a larger home, sell their first home. So we are usually posting content that we feel is relevant and interesting to them. The next thing you're going to want to do is direct message 5 accounts daily. So you might even want to go and sort your contacts by ones you haven't interacted with recently and kind of start from the bottom and work your way up. But send something meaningful. Don't just send like a waving emoji or anything. Like say, hey, I saw that your son just went to prom. How was that? You know, those sorts of things. Like just reaching out and interacting without being salesy again. In your stories, and this is going to sound like a crazy amount, but it's actually not that hard. Post 3 to 5 stories per day. And now when you're posting these stories, think about what you would want to see, like what you are trying to attract. I am myself raising a young family, so I know what's relevant to me and what I would want to see on my feed and what I find funny or inspirational or even educational. I respond well to all of those things if it's relevant to me. Think about posting in your stories things that you would want to see or that your target avatar would want to see. As a rough rule of thumb too, people often want to see kind of what's behind the curtain, especially in real estate. Like think about that. Like in real estate, we see people driving fancy cars, wearing fancy clothes, and selling $1 million mansions. However, that's not reality. The majority of realtors are not living that lifestyle, and people want to see kind of what's behind the curtain so that they can relate to you. So an easy way to get started on these 3 stories a day is to just try and post 3 stories on the following. 1, what are you doing today? Perhaps a story setting people up to know what you are working on that day, what you are seeing that day, what your goals are for that day, something along those lines. 2, a behind the scenes shot. There have been many times where I've hidden in a shower while the photographer is taking a picture, and I'll take a picture of that or a video, and I get so many laughing comments or things like that. And then 3, touch upon something maybe from your personal life. Again, people are wanting to get to know you. Statistics are that more and more people aren't even just asking for referrals these days. They're starting to follow their potential realtor online to see what they're about before even reaching out. So what's something that shows a little bit about you and your personality, or what matters to you at home? For me, it's easy. It's a lot of kids or husband posts, or sometimes it's just funny behind the scenes stuff that's happening at the office. Dare and I were shooting reels the other day, for instance, so we shot a funny video and posted of us stretching for them, and there was a ton of interaction as a result. So just stuff like that, those 3 types of posts, just to get you started. Even if you do just those 3 every day, I bet you start to see a growth in your following, especially if you're consistent on your messaging and doing what is important to you and important to your clientele. And then if you have time, and what I recommend is to set a timer, because Instagram in and of itself, it can be a rabbit hole, but to interact with other accounts. Now, I've been told as much as 45 minutes. I think that's overkill. What I usually do is I set my timer for 15 minutes and I go in and interact and comment with people that would be in my target base, so that they see those comments and that interaction, but it has to be genuine comments. You can't just give a thumbs up emoji again. So just comments on what they're posting or asking them a question, those sorts of things. But 15-minute increments should be fine, but just set your timer for 15 minutes, get in, spend your 15 minutes commenting, get out, kind of thing. So that's the stories in and of itself, but you do still need to be adding quality content, like I said, to your main feed. Now, what I will caution you on is don't post just to post. Like, if there's something that does not inspire you, or you're just posting it because it's been a whole day and you haven't posted anything, I personally think it would be better to just not post anything at all. Because if you're not into what you're seeing, or you don't have anything to share, it kind of comes through if you're posting stuff that isn't connected to you. But I'm going to give you a few ideas. I think this list is around 50 to 60 ideas or so of different things that you can post that I came up with, and that have been successful for us, of course, that you can post on your social media. And if you want me to send you this list, hit me up in the comments section below, send me an email, and what I'll do is I will put this list together and send it out, because I already have it typed up for this video today, so it's very easy for me to send on to you. So a good one to start is an education or training session that you are being a part of. Post something that you learned today. Did you know? Remember those opening lines? Very, very, very powerful, especially if you can grab that client's attention enough to read. So the quality of the copy you write, as well as the opening line, is important. Because again, if Instagram sees somebody reading what you wrote and hovering on your picture for a period of time, you're going to pop up higher in that algorithm moving forward. For us, a lot of the time what we're posting are quick tips or home hacks for young families. So things that we do around the house that make life easier, that we think other people would find useful. Another one that always seems to go off swimmingly well, to be honest, is a reintroduction of self. So not just myself, I'm obviously on a team, although anytime I do a reintroduction of myself, it does get a lot of likes and a lot of comments. Just give people some like 10 interesting facts about you or somebody on your team. Like if you are watching this, you're probably newer in the business, don't have a team yet, but what I like to do is tell people why I love my team member, just kind of pour into them and just kind of show a little bit of their personality, what they're about, or myself and what I'm about. Honestly, like some people feel it's too much to do it bi-weekly, but I don't. Like anytime somebody posts allow me to reintroduce myself and it's somebody I'm interested in following, I read exactly what they say and take interest in it. So I don't think you can do that too frequently. Well, okay, daily would be too much, but it's something that's worth posting fairly regularly. Just don't copy and paste it and reuse it every month, kind of thing. And keep in mind too that if you're gaining followers every day, they might not have seen one of your previous posts. So you're gaining daily followers, reintroduce yourself fairly regularly. A client review is another popular one. You can pretty it up, go on sites like Canva, canva.com, to make a pretty little carousel picture or reviews. Social proof is very important. Then of course there are the standard posts. So the just listed, just sold, new price, coming soon, open house. But what I will caution you about posting listings and business stuff like that too often is it can be really, really annoying to people if that's all they're seeing when they're going through your feed. Think the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule essentially. 80% of your content should be fun content for people that they enjoy the humor of, find it educational or inspirational. The remaining 20% can be ads about yourself or what you're selling. But try and keep a balance in there. Don't be posting too much about just listed, just sold. Like, those are good to have sprinkled in there, of course. That's why we have these pages, so that we can get more exposure for our listings and helping our buyers as well in terms of finding houses. But just don't spam people overly. Think of it as almost like a commercial that people have to watch to be on your channel. But obviously, if the commercial is too long, people are going to tune out. So just keep in mind 20% or less. Another idea that comes up annually, or actually I think it's semi-annually, is the most popular paint colors. So Behr usually does one. I think Sherwin-Williams also does one. It's a pretty post too if you can find some pictures of this color in use in homes that you have permission to use, of course. But that's also another popular one. Ask people what they think of it. Get people interacting with your social media account. Another one that goes over really well is a shout out to a local business. We haven't been doing these nearly as much since COVID, and we need to get back in the habit of doing it. But if you are shouting out a business, talking about how wonderful their service was, how great the sandwiches were that they made for you today, or the customer service in a salon, something like that, share it, tag the business. They often reshare it. And so they feel good that somebody else has seen value in them and they share it, and then you're exposed to their whole audience too. We always have had really, really well-received posts when we are posting about that. The contest, so it could be something simple as like a $10 Starbucks gift card for the first person to figure out where you are, or something like that. Our contest posts have actually gone super viral to the point that we've actually had to scale them back because of course there's scammers coming in now and trying to take advantage of people that are entering. So it's just something to be aware of and to warn people about. We've also gotten in the habit a little bit more of doing video contest posts just because it's much harder for people to steal the video and use it as their own versus, especially if it says in there, we'll never ask for your credit card information, versus when it's a static picture that they can steal and crop how they see fit. Some stories, like there are some people, and I endeavor to be more like them, that are just the most beautiful storytellers out there. And I will sit and watch their entire story. And this includes other realtors. So realtors that have shared about sobriety, realtors that have shared about a touching client experience where perhaps somebody was about to lose their home and how they swooped in to save them. Of course, you want to be careful about how much detail you reveal in situations that are sensitive like that, but just a story. People want to connect more so after COVID. Give people a reason to connect with you. It can be happy stories too. It doesn't have to be sad stories about how these clients crimped and saved all their money, worked 6 jobs just to put enough money in the bank and got their first house. Something like that. Beautiful stories, and showing that heart and that you connect with your clients is important. Sometimes it's just as easy to do a throwback. It could be an existing listing that you listed a while ago and you just want to show up the kitchen again, or it could be an old listing where it's turn of fall and saying, man, would I ever love to have this fire pit in my backyard right about now. Something like that. I guess the selling price of this home, this would have been really exciting in those markets that were super overheated and things were selling in bidding wars. But even so, even now you can guess the selling price, and then person closest maybe gets a prize of some sort, or even just an ability to brag or get their real estate license. Those are always well received, I find, when people are guessing the selling price of the home. And it also gets them commenting on the specific listing you have, which further helps you push it out through that algorithm. Or even a guess the listing price if you haven't yet listed the home but it's an up and coming sale. You can use that there too. Another successful post is something from home. So something that shows again behind that curtain, what you're doing with your kids that day, where you're going, what you're seeing, the feeling, the emotion, and something that speaks to your clientele. Regular weekly statistics are good to post. I found that when I first started posting weekly stats on Mondays that those posts weren't getting a lot of looks, but as we've gotten very regular with it, doing it weekly, those posts are becoming some of our most popular posts that we post. I think people are kind of comparing month or week over week, or maybe we've just grown a larger following that cares more about what's going on in the Winnipeg market. I don't know, but those are quite successful. We do them as a carousel and we always change up the order in which the pictures show up. So Perhaps there's people looking for a specific image that we used last week and now it's not slide 2, it's slide 9 kind of thing. But those are very successful. But what I will say, what is the most viewed slide of those posts, which I do still always post last, is our interpretation. So people don't just want the statistics, they want to know your interpretation. What does this mean for them? What impact does this have? So having that interpretation in there is most important, not just sharing the statistics that the average sale price is this, that this is this, and that interest rates are this. That doesn't help anybody. Anybody can do a quick Google search and figure that out. They want to know what this means. Another thing we like to do is a shout out to our vendors. So we often will give praise to our stager, our photographer, our videographer, our cleaner. You know, there are people that really appreciate the praise, and also it establishes you as a professional. Obviously there's lots of realtors out there that don't necessarily pay for professional photography and videography. If you do, use it. Shout out to them. Also, a lot of the time when we do this, similar to the idea previous where you're sharing a local business, these guys are also local businesses that appreciate the praise and they will share it in their own social media streams. You're helping them grow their database and they're helping you grow your database. For us too, the posts that receive a lot of likes and interaction are anytime we share something about team love or the team in a group photo getting together. I don't know about you, but especially after COVID, I seem to always notice the posts where it's a group of people together and I want to know what they're doing, if they're having fun, what they're drinking. So similar to that goes a long way on our own social media. What I will say is, of course, if you don't yet have a team, totally fine. You can find other people, like other newbies in your office or the admin that just did a title search for you and you love them. Take a picture with them. Just say how much you love them and pour into somebody else. It makes them feel good. It makes you feel good. Remember, letting other people's light shine reflects well on them, but it also reflects well on you. It's never hurt to give a compliment. Holidays, we always do put out messages on holidays. We try to consider all the holidays that would have an impact on our clients. So that could be Merry Christmas, Happy Diwali, Easter, Halloween, of course, Remembrance Day. So we try and wish well on others on those days that are important to them. And don't just post a picture, like post something heartfelt in the comments. And just remember, with the holidays, be tasteful. And if you don't understand, sometimes it's better to not post. Just really do your research. You don't want to be insensitive to something that is important to somebody. Another thing is repurposing and reposting old content. So for instance, if we've had a reel that did really well, we'll go in, we'll reuse it, and it seems to gain a lot of traction all over again. So if it's working, don't break it, keep using it. You don't want to do this for every post, like think once or twice a month kind of thing, but definitely stuff you can go back in and repurpose and reuse. In addition to the market stats, you can also do farm areas. So if you're wanting to hone in on specific neighborhoods or farm areas, you could just do stats for that particular neighborhood. And those are great too, because you can also target specific neighborhoods to kind of send that marketing out to, or find groups where you can share this content in. Okay, one of our old posts that used to be so popular was one that was called What's Up in Winnipeg. And we would post 3 activities going on that weekend that were family friendly, how to register, where to register, costs, just whatever information we could kind of figure out. And that used to be so popular. We got out of the habit of doing it during COVID. So I am going to start doing these again as of next week. Okay, this is kind of crazy and starting to think on a whole nother level. And if you're not there yet, that's fine, but just something to keep in mind as a realtor, because it never hurts to have more sources of income. Products that you love. But even better than just sharing products you love, and you have to genuinely love these products, use them daily or see value in them and think that others will see value in them as well. But if there are products like that you can talk about, and with sincerity, of course, that you use, you can also perhaps get paid to market some products. There is affiliate marketing out there that's available to you. So just something to keep in mind. In all honesty, if you're just sharing a product that benefited you and it's of value to your clients, that in and of itself is a benefit. Post about your job, like why you love it. Give something from your soul. Shine a light, shine your light. Show people what it is that brings you joy, sparks joy, why it is you chose this career, and why you still love it today. People really appreciate passionate people, people that love and exude that love and joy. that comes from within when they're doing something they love. Anniversary posts. I am horrible at this because I just had to write them all down for my team because I lost track. But there's always a reason to celebrate your team. So for us, it's workiversaries is what we call them. So when each member joined the team and how long it's been and what their journey has been like. Again, it might not be something you're posting if you don't have a team yet, but you can also share your own workiversary. 10 years today, or maybe 2 years, 1 year. Today marks my first full year of real estate. Here's what I've learned in my first year. Those sorts of posts always go over really well. Another thing that we have found really good traction with are places that we love within our farm area. So if we have a large amount of clients watching us from a certain area and we talk about perhaps the walking trails that we love there, where we went to the park today and what was new there that we didn't realize was there yet, things like that, those always go a long way too. Staging tips. I will also say that this is another good carousel one for people to flick through. Keep your sentences short. Statistics are showing that people are losing interest more and more every day when it comes to social media. There's just so much to see that you need to have like a couple quick hitters for people to kind of swipe through, but maybe give 3 top staging tips or something like that. Similar to that, what about 3 showing tips? So 3 things that sellers could do to make their home showing experience more enjoyable for buyers. Think about those baking smells. Similar to something I talked about earlier, those client stories. Again, share something heartfelt, maybe something that happened during your journey with a particular client and how things ended up working out. A personal story too. Perhaps talk about a transaction that you recently closed that was incredibly difficult. Obviously, for privacy reasons, you can't reveal too much detail that would kind of tip off people about the client in question, but a personal story will always go a long way. A review for another agent. So say you just closed a really difficult transaction with another agent, or another agent went out of their way to be awesome. It never hurts to give them praise. Introduce your favorite lawyer. There's a lot of the time where people might be looking for a lawyer anyways if they're already on your feed. So introduce a lawyer, give 3 quick questions to them to answer kind of thing, and just kind of post about them and why you enjoy working with them. A good one would be perhaps 3 questions any buyer should ask a lawyer before hiring them. Similar to the lawyer, perhaps an interview with your favorite mortgage broker. What are 3 things people should get in order before applying for a mortgage? Something to that effect. Introduce your favorite photographer. Are you seeing a trend here? What are 3 things that people should do so that their house shoots perfectly on picture day? For example, opening blinds, turning on lights, those sorts of things. Putting the toilet seat lids down. Again, similar vein, introduce your favorite home inspector. What are 3 things people should look for when they are touring a home so that there aren't any major surprises perhaps on that home inspection. Another one that I like to do, and we have gotten a fair amount of success with it, but a story with a reply link in it. So like you're asking a question, something to engage your audience. We've had one where we actually had, if you were able to get the right price for your home, would you sell? Wow, the response was crazy. We had a lot of leads just from that one post. But don't do it too much, because obviously if you keep posting it, people catch on, and then you're gonna lose that traction that you're getting, because you have to be authentic in your questions, but also in how you deal with the leads that come in as a result of your questions. If you don't have one yet, you should have a home seller guide. Share a link to that in a story. Similar to that, share a link to a home buyer guide in a story. You should have materials for both. Another great question box one is ask me anything about real estate. We still get perverts all the time that we have to ban and block from our social media, but there are a lot of good questions that people ask that help us come up with topics for future posts, as well as share on our story the responses. You have to keep in mind that if one person is asking a question, there's a good chance that there's a lot more people out there that are also asking this question, but we're too scared to raise their hands. So always use that content to get a feel for what clients are needing answers to. I will say too, like with the question boxes, the more and more that we do and get responses to, the more popular each successive question box is if you're doing the interactions properly. So you start popping up higher and higher and higher in that algorithm. And what I will say is early on, when we didn't have a lot of interaction on our social media, it's not the worst to get your mom or your brother or your friend to ask you a question. It doesn't necessarily show who asked the question when you're sharing it, depending on how you share it. So just using that to gain confidence from people to actually post things and know you're not going to spam them like a crazy person is also good. So just getting that traction going. Another one that does really well is interviews with past clients. So I don't just mean like getting a written static review, I mean an actual video that you can post about what their experience was like with you. Of course, we hope that review is good, but those interviews come off as much more genuine. Always share cute pictures of your kids if you have them, or perhaps a cute pet picture. You could share a picture of the house you're currently showing, something you love from it. Maybe it's just the organizer in this drawer. Don't be going in their dresser drawers. I mean the actual drawers that come with the home that are appropriate to be looking within. You could create one of those questionnaires where people pick like this or that kind of thing, where they circle. Like those are always good at the changes of season, like fall this or that, winter this or that. Like, do you like pumpkin spice, or do you like, you know, a hot chocolate, those sorts of things. One that also does really well for us is posting before and after staging, although we usually post the after first for the purposes of the feed so that people can see the pretty, not the not so pretty. But that goes a long way too for establishing just the value of staging as well as part of your services, right? Share a motivational quote here or there. We used to share way too many, I admit it. So, and share ones that you actually connect to. Don't just share them to share them. So if you feel a connection with a specific quote, or perhaps it doesn't even have to be motivational. It could be funny, it could be educational or inspirational, but just from time to time, share things that resonate with you. Share a seminar you're hosting. So maybe you're doing like a first-time home buyers course or a home seller's guide, or maybe you're just in a Zoom with your office. Take a picture, share that, show that you are always providing education as well as receiving education. Another one that's popular for us, I don't know how much I love it, but no, it's fun, is ask my admin anything, or you could ask the office staff if you don't have a team. But essentially, they can ask my admin anything they want about me and she will answer honestly, and I always find them hilarious. But boy, that can be nerve-wracking sometimes, because I'm definitely weird in my own way. Post about a charity you believe in and why you are connected to that charity. We do a lot with Children's Miracle Network here. I will try not to get emotional talking about it, but we believe that we are incredibly lucky to have 3 healthy children. And we wish everybody's children could be healthy like ours. So just posting about a charity and why it's important to you. I could give more backstory even on this video as to why it's so important to us, but it's very important to share why a charity is important to you, especially if it's part of your business plan and why you're making donations, say, from each sale to this particular charity. You can also post solds from your farm area. Obviously, if they're not your own solds, and if you haven't gotten that permission, make sure you're getting proper permissions to share them. I know in Winnipeg, we got very strict in 2022 about just what it is we're allowed to share and whose permission we need to share it. So just make sure you have the proper permissions before sharing those. Neighborhood videos. We've put a lot of time and expense into creating some pretty substantial neighborhood videos, but it doesn't have to be something crazy like that. Open your phone, film a reel that has like a template for 5 separate areas, and just say my favorite things about Crescentwood, and then show a park, show maybe your favorite local coffee shop, those sorts of things. That goes a long way. Another one that is popular, and you better do your fact checking before you post this though. What is going on at this latest construction site? Do you know? Do you have good intel? Is there a new Dairy Queen going in, or, you know, or is it something more concerning to the residents? Again, have the proper intel, ideally in writing, of what is going in there, so that if you are ever fact checked, you have your facts. Obviously, you do not want to be spreading misinformation, because that could turn against you very poorly. But people always want to know, hey, what's going in over there? And if you are the neighborhood authority, that goes a long way. It often has some virality to it too. Go through the steps for preparing your home for sale. It could be a carousel as well. It goes a long way. Another one that always seems to do well is share an embarrassing post. There was a post, I guess it wasn't overly embarrassing, but it did go viral for me a couple of years ago now, where I had just stepped dog urine in a house we were shooting. I was hiding on the photographer at the time. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to upset their flow, but it was kind of me just hiding in the basement with urine-soaked feet. It was funny in hindsight, but it was kind of, I didn't want to have to tell the seller at the time either what was going on, so it was kind of embarrassing at the time. Also share about your referral network. So a lot of the time we're talking about agents that we work with in other provinces and why we love them and loving on them. Again, goes a long way, especially if that agent is sharing it with their own network. Sure, the clients might not be moving to Winnipeg, but those agents that they probably have relationships with are seeing that, hopefully taking note of that, and thinking of you in the future for referral, or if your name comes up in a referral list, saying, why does that name sound familiar? And hopefully kind of grasping some of that mind share. Again, what are you doing right now? Lunch with a mortgage broker? Take a picture, share it. Share your life. People want to see what's going on. Or an outfit of the day, perhaps post. Bonus points if it's embarrassing. I've posted a few times of me going out in my pajamas to deliver docs or grab docs, so it happens. Oh, any group that you are a member of, and if the members of course are okay with their pictures being shot, a picture of that. For instance, I'm in a female realtor group here and we get together monthly, so having pictures of us out and about goes a long way. Again, renovations with the best returns. Another one that does well are like vlogs. So if you can kind of like highlight what you've done through the day, this is good for a reel format too, like just taking quick snippets and kind of piecing them together. That goes a long way as well. And then another one that's often popular for us are best homes under a certain price point. And we kind of just scour the market. Sometimes these aren't necessarily our own listings too. We reach out to other realtors to get their permission to share. But they go a long way because not only are we sharing them, the other realtors sharing them, perhaps their clients are sharing them, and they're reaching quite a broad buyer pool. So that's about 50, 60 ideas of what you can post. Again, I have this list ready if ever you want it to kind of chip away at. I know not everybody is planning on taking notes through a whole video. So it's totally cool if you reach out to me for a copy of this list. I'm happy to share. And again, thank you for watching today. I'm Jennifer Queen with the Jennifer Queen team here in Winnipeg. And if you found value in this video, please hit that like button below. Feel free to subscribe to our channel and feel free to leave some messages in the comments because it always helps me in determining just what kind of content to come up with next, especially if you have some videos you want me to shoot and ideas. There's no idea that is stupid. I'm happy to shoot a video on it, so feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. Have a great day, guys.